Hey guys, I'm going to do another quick video. I think the videos are so much easier than writing. I like to write, but it's hard to write lately. I don't have as much time. So I wanted to talk about one of my first experiences with negative girl treatment. It wasn't really interaction because it was sort of one-sided, but when I was in the 8th grade, I had moved down to back to my hometown. I was living with my mom, and then I went back to live with my dad, and he lived closer to a big city, and my mom lived in the country. And I was very friendly and open, and I was sort of an ugly duckling, and just, teenage years are the worst. 8th grade, you have pimples, and I had a perm, I think, and very insecure, extremely insecure, but I was trying to make new friends. I knew a couple kids in the area, but not many, and I was just very open. And there were two kids in my school who I guess were sort of in the popular group, whatever that means. And it's so funny, it was 8th grade, which was a bazillion years ago, 30 years ago, something like that, almost. And I still remember their names. That's how much of an effect it had on me. And I remember every health class. That was the class that I had with them. And that was the first year that I switched classes a lot. But every health class, they would just berate me. And it was a boy and girl, actually, interestingly enough. And they would just make fun of me, and it was horrible. They berated me so much throughout class, and the teacher never did anything, which, as an adult in hindsight, I wonder, maybe she really didn't notice, but I don't know how she didn't, but she never really did anything. And that class was so stressful, and I wasn't really that close to my parents then. My mom didn't live with me. My dad just worked a lot, and he was much older. So I'm sure I complained to him, but I just didn't feel very supported at all. And it's so funny because one of the girl who berated me, started coming home on my bus. She didn't live in my neighborhood, but she became really good friends with this girl that I had grown up with, that I had known for years. And she became friends with her, and she would come home on the bus and hang out with her. And sometimes they would come over to my house after school, and I was home alone, latchkey kid, and I wouldn't open the door because I was scared, and they would just kind of berate me from outside. And this girl that I had been friends with for years never really said anything or did anything. She wasn't really part of being mean, but she never stood up for me either, because I guess she wanted to be friends with this cool girl. So that was really painful. And it was my only experience with bullying. I never had it before until I was an adult, and I never had it after, throughout my school years. And interestingly enough, I ended up moving back to live with my mom after that, and then I came back for one more year in high school. And at that point, I still was sort of a dork, but I had learned to dress a little better and put on some makeup, and I was a little bit more confident. And that same girl was in my new high school, and she tried to become friends with me. And I certainly wasn't mean to her, but I remember distinctly she called me. She wanted to be friends with me, and I said, I think I just sort of brushed her off because I was so traumatized by what had happened in 8th grade. But it's just funny. Maybe she wanted to be friends with me all along from the beginning. And I don't know. It was just such a horrible year. And I just really hope that none of our kids have to deal with anything like that. And I'm very sensitive to that. And I'm very worried about that ever happening to my kids. But I think luckily I'm very hands-on, and I'm try to stay on top of what's going on with them. And I think I'm in a great supportive community. And so far they have wonderful friends, and I have wonderful families around me. So far so good. I haven't had to deal with any of that stuff yet, but I wanted to give you a history of something that happened to me once way back when, and maybe that makes me more sensitive to it now. But like I said, I never had to deal with that prior to that. I always had a lot of friends, and I was very friendly, and never had to deal with that stuff again until I was a grown mother, which I never in a million years would ever have thought that I would have to figure out how to handle those types of behaviors as a mom. So I think I've grown and learned from some of these experiences, and it's just funny. So anyways, I just wanted to give you a little history of something that happened to me once, and I hope that I, can hear one of your stories and how you handled it and get some tips. Have a great day.